butt kicker gamer too. What you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt kicker. The future is feeling.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to VEINOTTE'S TV and round number 3 of the Roma Brothers Racing Maritime iRacing Series. This is the VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto 150 from the Nashville Fairgrounds. We're getting ready to qualify these 23 cars that are here with us this evening to set the grid for the 150 a little bit later on and see who's going to take that VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto pole challenge. Tim Terry, Brandon Campbell, Brendan Queen, and I think Kyle Young is stuck somewhere at Tootsie's downtown. Don't know where exactly he is, but he's somewhere in the Discord somewhere. But Brandon, you know these guys just as well as I do. There's some familiar names here to Maritime racing fans getting ready to hit the grid for qualifying, and I believe the first one on the racetrack is Kyle Gammon.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with most of these guys. Race on here quite a bit with them, so I'm expecting a good show tonight at Nashville.
Well, not only do you know these drivers from racing on here, you know some of these drivers from being at the racetrack, and we'll see some familiar names as we roll on. The Speedy Autoglass Bedford, number 98 on the racetrack right now. The Sheriff Kyle Gammon from Mount Uniacke is going to come out of corner number 2 and down the back straightaway for the first time. And for the first time on VEINOTTE'S TV, we will introduce Butterbean. Brendan Queen, welcome in. You've raced late models before, so you know your way around an iRacing rig, right?
Yes, sir. I've been a proud member since 2009 and had a lot of fun over the years on here.
And for those that don't know, you're streaming on your Twitch as well. This is your first time you're doing this with us, too. So you're getting the rookie stripe kind of ripped off and everything, and fans can enjoy that on your Twitch stream, too, right?
Yes, sir. Twitch TV, The Butterbean. It's always a good time with the Mullet Mafia. Thank y'all for letting me do this tonight. It's going to be a good race and definitely a good time.
Kyle Gammon, P1 after one car at an 18.308. Now on the racetrack is the 29 car at Danny Vitch. Vitch in the DVS Electric, number 29, going to be on the clock here. Lap number 1 being scored for the number 29. He'll come by this time. Time of record has to beat is an 18.308. White flag comes out, and he will come in at an 18.479. So that'll put him P2 so far. Brandon, do you want to go out late here? Do you want to go out early? What would be the strategy if you're sitting there on pit road waiting to get your qualifying lap in?
I think you'd want to go late, because then you know what everyone else has ran, so you know the standard to beat. If you go out first, you might set your standards a little lower, so I don't want to be the last one to go, but taking advice from me in open qualifying is not the best idea.
So Danny Vitch is currently P2. So after that run, he'll slot into second place. This is Taylor Layton on the racetrack, as the 27 car will take the green flag on his time trial effort. Everybody makes the show. That's the good thing this evening. We're going to go straight to the 150 following this qualifying session. And Layton, the driver from New Brunswick, is going to put up his first lap up here, and it'll come in at a time of 18.432. That'll put him P2 so far. You've raced this racetrack before on the sim. Butterbean, what do you think of this racetrack? What's the key to getting around Nashville Fairgrounds?
Yeah, it's definitely awesome to finally have this place with so much history on the sim. I think I've won one race here. I haven't really ran here too much, but you definitely want to get off the corner really well, and you find yourself trying to pinch it down and stay on the line, which sometimes will cause your exit to not be as well. So that's something to look at tonight as they get some wear on the tires.
And 150 laps trying to harness this thing underneath you, especially with the power that these super late models have, is going to be potentially easier said than done for some of these guys. Wade Craswell comes up at a corner number 4, and lap number 1 comes in at second place, 18.333. Brad Hayes missed his lineup time, so he will start at the back of the field this evening in the 17 car from Headed Jador. The number 67 from Mans Mountain, New Brunswick, going to come out of corner number 4, and he'll take the checker flag. I think he might have scraped the wall. It's going to count at a 4.20, but it's going to be slower on lap number 2. And Brandon, obviously, we say the name Mans, Wade Creswell, Brad Mann. I think he's taken some pointers from Mr. Mann, so we'll see what he can do. But on the racetrack now is the series administrator Craig Tully, the R. Kaiser's Auto Clinic number 5. And Brandon looking pretty good so far on the first lap.
Yeah, he's looking great. Again, like Brendan said, this is a tough track to try to get the exit right because there's this one bump out of the turn, and if you hit it incorrectly, then it'll ruin your whole lap.
Lap 1 comes up at an 18:38. That's going to put Craig Tully to position number 3, the driver from the HRM. And he kind of mentioned it off the top of the show that Atlantic Canada is under, I don't want to say a snowstorm, but it's a messy winter storm right now. Lots of power outages in the province of New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, so some of these drivers not able to make it here this evening, so that's why we're short a couple of cars. Lap number 2 for Tully is an 18:32, going to put him at position number 2. And on the racetrack now, rolling up is the 57 of John Byron from Sydney, Nova Scotia. The former Napa Sportsman Series standout will be on the clock this time. He'll take his first lap around, take the green flag right here. And Brandon, I'll ask you, how are the weather conditions in Moncton? Because I know it's mostly snow up there, right?
Well, I work in Fredericton. It took me 2.5 hours to get home, and it's usually an hour-and-a-half drive. So it started with snow, then freezing rain, then the way home it was just rain. So it's messy up here.
So some of these drivers having to deal not only with the virtual world and the virtual race car, they also have to deal with getting home from work and making sure that they are all good to go for this evening's racing action. John Byron, lap number 2 comes up at a time of 18:41. That's going to put him in position number 4. So his second lap, the quickest record for John Byron. On the racetrack now is the 08. It's the Brycon Construction Mobile 1 Toyota for Nicholas Noggle. Noggle is on the clock, the winner at Riverside International Speedway earlier this season, and a winner 1 year ago at the World Series of Asphalt. And it's one of those border restrictions keeping Noggle and the Brycon team from competing at New Smyrna Speedway this season. So the best he's going to have to do is here on the sim, P2, lap number 1 at an 18:32. It's going to put Noggle in position number 2. And Brennan looks pretty good right now going down into turn number 3.
Yes, he looked really solid off of 2 there. As you know, with them inverting the practice times, you're probably going to see speed start to pick up here. It's just going to be interesting to see who's watching that stopwatch too much to make a mistake, or who can put it out of their mind. And if it goes like practice, the last car should be the fastest one.
So Noggle goes to the top of the board. Like you said, he's gone to the top, and Travis Roma has just topped that at an 18:17. Roma, the multi-time Shriners Classic champion at Scotia Speed World, the RBR number 38 comes up at a corner number 4. Can he better lap number 2? It's going to slow down to an 18:23. So Travis Roma currently P1. So the last 2 drivers have gone to the top of the board, Brandon. Now on the racetrack is the 19 of Derek Gates, and Gates is on the clock now to see what he can do and see if he can continue the trend and go to the top of the board.
Yeah, then that's the thing. As Brendan said, with the inverted from practice times, we'll see the speed start to pick up. So not specifically saying that it'll run in that order, but you'll definitely see some quicker times start to show up on the board.
Respectable time for Derek Gates on lap number 1, 18:29. He's going to need to find about a tenth and a half or so to go to the top of the board in the number 19 car as he rounds corners number 3 and 4. He'll come up to the checkered flag this time by, and he will post a time of 18:5. So slower on lap number 2. Lap of record is an 18:29 for Mr. Gates. And driver on the racetrack now, you're familiar with Brandon, the 89, the Rookie of the Year from Speedway Miramichi this year in the mini stocks. It's Conrad Murphy on the clock, and you've seen him a couple of times at the racetrack.
Yeah, I've seen him around the track for sure, and I'm sure I'll see a bunch of him this summer, and who knows, maybe I'll get my name on the same trophy he got his on.
Yeah, you're competing for Rookie of the Year this year in a mini stock, aren't you?
Well, competing and trying are probably 2 different things, but yeah, we'll go with competing.
Yeah, we'll go with that. It sounds a little bit better, right? Lap number 1 for Conrad Murphy is an 18:38, going to put him position number 7 out of 4 to the line. The driver from Miramichi goes quicker to second at an 18:27. That's going to put him position number 2. And another driver from Miramichi, the recently crowned winner of the TCM Weekly iRacing Series at Oxford. go down his resume, it's the White Lightning Fabrication, or it's White Lightning Auto Center Big Cam Fabrication number 2. The virtual Brad Siliker Motorsports car, Ashton Tucker from Miramichi, is on the clock. Lap number 1, it comes up at a time of 18.237, puts in position number 2. The Remax 250 winner at Speedway 660, a champion in the Petty Raceway Speedway 660 series, Pro Stock Series in 2020, and looking for some bigger things in 2021. Checkered flag out for Stewie, and he comes up at a time of 18.268, a little slower on lap number 2, puts in position number 2, and just like that, I guess we're going to group all the Miramichiers together here, Brandon. This is Dave Cassidy in the 13, the White Lightning Auto Center Big Cam Fabrication Mike's Bar and Grill number 13, as he is on the clock. Do you think there's any rivalry between these three that just went out?
Yeah, for sure, because, the Miramichi guys, they all seem to be pretty close at the track and off the track, so I think there's definitely a little bit of added pressure with these three guys following each other out.
Dave Cassidy will come by this time and complete his qualifying effort. Lap number 1 was 4th quick at an 18.27. Lap number 2 is going to go to an 18.29, so slower on lap number 2, still going to be position number 4. The driver from outside the Moncton area, Kokang, New Brunswick, brings us number 42. That's Mark Williams. The Johnny Clark lookalike, the Port City Race Cars, Clark's Car Crushing, number 42, going to be on the clock here. And Brendan, what are you thinking so far here? What are you seeing out of these Canadian drivers as they qualify for this 150 lapper?
They're definitely getting after it, getting down in the corner. I wouldn't think you'd need to sling it in there like that, but obviously they've been practicing a lot more than I have. But it's interesting, Travis Roma is still holding on to the top spot. What I'm noticing is a lot of these guys that look like they might have a shot at it, they buzz the tire off a 2 or off a 4, and it pretty much is hurting their shot at the pole here.
We'll see what Mark can do through 3 and 4. Higher entry, going to try to diamond it off a little bit. Oh, that's not going to help. Checkered flag, and that lap's not going to count for the 42. So lap number 1 is a lap of record at an 18.41. Caden Tufts on the clock now in car number 88, the Randy Jackson HVAC LBT Pallets number 88 from the Halifax area. And I think we can both say, Brandon, when we look at drivers from the start of the 2020 pandemic sort of racing, when this all started for a lot of these drivers, as Caden goes to P3 on lap number 1 at an 18.26. I think Caden's one of those drivers that's probably one of the most improved drivers over the last year or so.
Yeah, I'd say so for sure. Caden's he's definitely put the time in, and you can tell, and I see Tanton's in the field also, so both of them have definitely been putting the time in iRacing and real life, and the results are starting to show for these two young guys.
88 slows down on lap number 2, so lap number 1 will be the lap of record at an 18.26. Here comes the 56 car of Tanton Woolridge, winner on race number 1 here at RBR. Has come close so many other times to taking victories here on Vidane TV in the super late model and in the short track race cars, as Woolridge on the clock. Lap number 1 comes up at a P2 at an 18.22. The Bandolero standout, the winner of the Blast Off in Miramichi. He's won the Thanksgiving Thunder at Sydney Speedway. He's won at every racetrack that runs Bandoleros in Atlantic Canada, except for Eastbound Park, and he hasn't been there yet. Checkered flag out for Woolridge. Top of the board. First time we've seen lap number 2 be a little bit better than lap number 1 at an 18.16. Going to put Tanton Woolridge at the top of the board and put him up there by about 100th or so. And now on the racetrack is car number 78. That's John Fitzpatrick. And Brandon, the last time we saw some Atlantic Canadian racing here on Vidane TV Saturday night, when we ran the Saturday night special, and John Fitzpatrick, I think, I don't want to say surprised the field, but I think the finish was more surprising than anything when he went to victory lane. 18.20 is lap number 1, and you were in that race. What did you think of the performance?
Well, I thought we were going to forget about that one after what happened about 15 laps in, but yeah, the end of the race was definitely good, and it's nice to see a guy like John win, because he's one of the best guys you can run around, and he definitely he was in the right spot at the end of that race.
So he'll complete his qualifying run here, and we'll move to the driver from Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia. It's Mike Rhino on the clock in the 34 car, as he will start his lap. Down the back straightaway he goes, and he'll be on the first lap. And we've got some heavy hitters coming up here, Butterbean. We've only got 4 drivers left to qualify as Mike Rhino comes across. Lap number 1 goes to an 18.91. or 19, 18, 19, easy for me to say, goes to P3. For these three drivers that are sitting here, Butterbean, what do you think's going through their mind? Do you think there's any nerves trying to beat the clock and get up to the top of the board?
I think so. If you notice, I'm still impressed with Travis Roma. He's the only car up there that picked up, half a tenth at least from his practice time. Everybody else has been slower. Besides the pole sitter, Tanton Wooldridge, he tied his practice time. So that's an interesting little fact.
Yeah, it's great to see that on the timesheet. And there's three drivers right now that if they back up their practice time, they're going to go to the top of the board. Matthew Barkhouse's practice time was an 18:13. He's on the racetrack now and your point leader after two races. And albeit with a drop race, Brandon, I don't know how much you can judge a point lead after two races. Still have to be on it. Lap number 1 goes to actually P5 in the Celtic Air, number 15 at a 18:20. So Brandon, he's going to go pick it up here, and that was a little slide into 2.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he just hit that bump coming out of 2, and it got him sideways. But Barkos is always the type of guy that if you have money to put on in a short track race on iRacing, you want to put your money on him. He's that guy that when he shows up in the field, you know your chances of winning just went down significantly. But great guy to be with, and I know he puts the time in on here too.
Yeah, he's going to have to roll from at least position number 5, and it might be a little bit further back with two drivers to go. This is the Clattenburg Racing Fabrication, R&R Kinsman Auto Salvage, number 75 of Mike Alexander from Cole Harbour on the clock, and looking pretty good right now through corners number 3 and 4. He'll come up this time and take that white flag, and he'll go to the top of the board in an 18:14. That almost backs up his practice time at an 18:11, trying to get a little bit quicker with only one more car left to go in this session. The number 75, the throwback paint scheme to his hobby stock, a throwback to Jim Hallahan, comes up at a 4, checkered flag at an 18:17. Slows down on lap number 2, but still good enough for the pole. And the final driver on the racetrack, the Custom Matco, number 33, a Brett Suggs, a driver from Mooresville, North Carolina, going to be on the clock. Brennan, he is the regular in the Southeast Super Trucks. He'll be on the clock here. Can he get the pole?
I definitely think he's probably got a good shot here. Track seems to still have speed in it. As long as he doesn't... Oh, there he went. Never mind.
There it is. It's an 18:13. Going to put Brett Suggs on the pole. And I think he's going to try to do one better here and try to better that time because he's still off a couple hundredths from practice, leaving it all on the line. He's already got the pole. Can he better the pole a little bit? No, he can. 18:54. Still going to put him P1. So that will conclude qualifying. Everybody took a time except for Brad Hayes and I believe Chris Roma, both late to their lineup. So they will start scratch on this 22, I believe, car field. And we'll get ready to roll this race along. We'll have the VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto Pole Challenge given out. And Brandon, a little bit different than what we had in previous seasons with this being race number 3. It's not new to the first 2 races, but one of the drivers in the top 5 will have the opportunity to go to the back of the field. And if they accept that, they can come back to the front and pick up a little bit of money. If they do win, Paul can correct me if I'm wrong, it's $15, right? It hasn't rolled over or anything else or anything crazy like that. I think it's $15. If not, they'll correct me if I'm wrong. But we'll see who accepts that just a few moments away from advancing this session. Brandon, what do you think of this qualifying field? Who do you like?
Well, as we saw on the Wednesday series for TCM, Ashton Tucker's been quick every week, so I think I'm going to have to put my money on him tonight. He's quick wherever he goes, whether it's real life or virtual, so he's definitely got my pick tonight.
He took the pole challenge in race number 1 when we were here for the RBR series. I guess the good news to kind of save him is that Ashton Tucker cannot take the pole challenge here because he starts outside of the top 5. He'll start in 8th. Brennan, what do you think? Who's going to take this one? Who do you see so far after qualifying?
It's hard to bet against Brett, the pole sitter here. I definitely like his chance. He's got track position, but it's such a long race that just because you can run a fast lap doesn't mean you'll be the fastest in 150 laps. I think between him and I'm going to go with somebody like Travis Roma, a guy that picked up from practice, and he's kind of caught my attention since he went out. So I don't really know much about this field, but I'm going to go with those two guys to look out for tonight.
And we should mention as well that Brett Suggs took his own money tonight. It was a $10 pole award from Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing. So back in the back pocket of the 33. And if you head over to his Facebook page, the Southeast Super Truck schedule just announced this week. And some sponsor announcements as well coming for Brett Suggs. And they will begin their season, I believe, at the end of March at Anderson. I could be wrong, but you can head over to Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing and check all that out for yourself as we await the advancement of qualifying to go to the race and get ready to send these drivers off for 150 laps. The Royal Volts want to welcome them as well. If you like music, look them up on your favorite streaming device, and they are going to sponsor the lap 65 lap, I believe, and that is an extra $10. Paul, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, extra $10 from the Royal Volts. You heard their music, their song "King of the Road" at the opening of the show, and we really appreciate them. They sent us a whole bunch of music here throughout for us to use throughout the season. So be sure to check them out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere you can get music. Check them out, the Royal Volts. They got some pretty catchy jingles up in their repertoire.
So now you can see the field starting to grid for race number 3 of 6 in the RBR Maritime Series, and Brett Suggs, Mike Alexander are going to lead this field to green. Tanton Woolridge, Travis Roma, Mike Rhino, top 5. John Fitzpatrick, Matthew Barkhouse, Ashton Tucker, Caden Tufts, and Conrad Murphy, your top 10. This is a 22-car field, I do believe, with race director Owen Marr in the server, not participating in this one. So we'll see 22 cars take the green flag. I want to say hello and thank you to our race control this evening, Owen Marr and Brent Roy. And I'm actually surprised, Brandon. This isn't an ARCA car. We're not turning right tonight, so I'm actually impressed that Brett Roy has come out to the party tonight.
Yeah, well, I think somebody told him it was Supers at 5 Flags, so he definitely tried to show up for that one. So maybe that's just why he's here tonight.
I heard the pavement was wore out at 5 Flags after all those races.
Yeah, I think Ryan Messer came in one night and said that the pavement was worn out, so maybe they had to switch tracks to get that repaid for the new season.
Yeah, get it resurfaced and get it ready for the upcoming season. But you never know what might show up here at Vidane TV. We might have to put a super late model race at 5 Flags on before this thing is all said and done. I believe we're waiting on one more at the back, and as soon as we get that, the pace truck will begin to move its way forward. We'll have 2 parade and pace laps before we send these drivers off. We mentioned earlier, Brennan, 150 laps. What would your strategy be if you're Brett Suggs out in front? Do you kind of take it easy a little bit? Do you kind of work it and try to get that lead? There's 2 sets of tires in the race, so there's 1 extra set in the pits for this race. So how do you attack this?
I think if it was me in the car, off of my experience, I'd have to say the first 75 laps, I'm probably going to run hard, try to set the pace and see what I have and see what happens as the track takes on rubber, because I know I got 2 sets to play with. 75 would be halfway. That'd probably be my mark to put a set on, depending on the cautions. And then I'd save a set to play with for that last 75. And, by then you're going to know what your tire wear is on that run off of how hard you ran. So I think you really got to play it in segments here to really know what kind of strategy to do. And it also depends on where you're running. If you're in the back, you're going to have to change it up because you can't do the same thing and beat them doing what they're doing.
Now, I believe I'm going to go on a limb and say Mike Alexander accepted the Vino's Truck and Auto Pole Challenge, but we have 2 drivers within the top 5 that were moved to the back of the field. Mike Rhino is also starting at the back. We're going to believe that Mike took the pole challenge. Well, if we say Mike, Brandon, I guess it's both. So we'll have to double check, but we believe Mike Alexander from second place will go to the back and take the Vino's Truck and Auto Pole Challenge, and he'll have to move back through the field to pick up that extra $15 bonus should he want to pocket a little bit of extra cash here this evening. But we're getting ready to go green. It's Brett Suggs and Mike Alexander, 2 RBR drivers at the front of the field, going to lead this thing down for the first of 150 laps. Green flag flies. We are underway at the Nashville Fairgrounds with the Vino's Truck and Auto 150, and down into corner number 1 already. Brett Suggs going to try to take that advantage. Third and fourth, Brandon gets single file with John Fitzpatrick, Tanton Woolridge. They've kind of worked together a little bit on the sim, so that doesn't surprise me working together here on a restart.
Yeah, no, I remember John mentioned the other night and Tanton mentioned a few nights ago that they wouldn't be able to tell each other apart if they saw them on the street, but they've been helping each other out on iRacing, and it seems like they're willing to work with each other tonight, starting near the front.
And I think you'll see that throughout the evening with a little bit of teammate action going on. Brendan, there's a lot of teams and team involvement within this series. You see Caden Tufts in the 88 as he looks at the 15 of Barkhouse and the 2 of Ashton Tucker. Caden Tufts works a little bit with Tanton Woolridge. The Rev Racing drivers of Matthew Barkhouse. You got Mike Rhino. You got Mike Alexander. You get some of those drivers working together. So some teams working together in this series might help you out just a little bit, and 2 teammates at the front as well, leading this field around. I think that's why you don't see a whole lot of pressure from Travis Roma to Brett Suggs.
Yeah, definitely teammates can go good and bad, I'd like to say. Early on, it's definitely in your benefit to have a teammate there, to cut you a break or let you in on a restart. But then when it gets down to about 25 to go, that's when the decisions get hard, because as a teammate, you want to help them, but at the same time, you're here to win the race. So that's when you have to make decisions, and sometimes they don't end up good.
Great side-by-side battle. You ride on board with Caden Tufts' podium finish here last week at the RBR Series, and trying to follow the Celtic Air number 15 of Matthew Barkhouse through to the inside on the 2 of Ashton Tucker, as Tucker trying to hold that position, and we're starting to see some two-groove racing here. These guys have been pretty much side-by-side since we dropped the green flag, Brandon. Nicholas Noggle has made a couple of moves. He's by the 89 of Conrad Murphy, right behind that 88 of Caden Tufts. So Noggle is moving, but he's been able to use the second groove as well. These two putting on a great show, but Brandon, what are they doing to their tires up here if you're the 15 and the 2? Are you using them a little too early?
Yeah, I'd say you're using them a little too early. It's 150 laps, a long race, but I'm not too familiar with this track, so I'm not sure what the tire wear on the outside looks like, but it seems to be like one of the best multi-groove tracks on iRacing so far for the super late models.
Oh, and it was almost a 3-groove racetrack for a moment there as Caden Tufts looked to the inside of Barkhouse, and now Noggle flashes the nose of the Mobile One Brycon construction Camry to the inside of the 88 as they try to duke it out in behind that side-by-side battle for position number 5 as Ashton Tucker continues to hold on to the outside of the 15, cannot shake him. He actually gets a good run down through 1 and 2. Brennan is the 2 is holding on out there. How long can he do it?
It's still early. It's just all going to be about that right rear tire. That right rear tire is your friend until you overheat it. And once you overheat that right rear, that's when the fun goes away. And he might not feel it now. He might not feel it lap 25, but lap 50 or so, he's going to know if he went too hard or not. But like I said, 2 sets of tires. I'm not too concerned yet. But you also got to think Nashville, the top might be where the race is won tonight, so he might be getting some data for later on in the race.
Maybe trying to feel out Matthew Barkhouse a little bit too. They did the battle on Wednesday evening for most of that TCM weekly iRacing series that we saw here on Bedane TV. So those two are very comfortable with each other. They know how each other races, and they have that little respect level, I guess, Brandon, in between the two of them. But Matthew cannot shake Ashton Tucker, and now the 88 of Caden Tufts has company on the outside of Nicholas Noggle as they battle 2x2 for those positions 5 on back, and it looks like the 98 of Kyle Gammon joining the mix as well. The Sheriff is back here in the 98 car.
Yeah, Kyle, so far he's gained 4 positions, so starting near the back half of the middle of the field, so it's nice to see him gain some positions, and he's a guy that, again, I wouldn't be able to tell him off somebody on the street, but he's always helped me out, and he's given me a lot of tips over the years for the mini stock, so he's a great guy, and again, wouldn't be able to tell him off the street, but he doesn't mind helping a hand.
And the new tech director for the East Coast Mini Stock Tour as well. So nice little tidbit there. I see the 56 starting to move. That is Tanton Woolridge to the inside of Travis Roma. Roma may have got the wall off of corner number 4 that last time by. Going to move Woolridge to the inside as they do battle for position number 2. The Wooly Motorsports Dark Moon number 56 trying to take it away from Roma. And Roma has had a couple of good runs as of late. Just hasn't been able to get to victory lane and kind of seal that win off, Brendan. But how hard can that be when you race with a bunch of guys in a league that you have for so long and you're running really well, you just haven't been able to win? How hard is it to shake that monkey off your back?
It's hard. It's more, to me, I feel like it gets to be a mental monkey because if you're running good week in and week out, it's gonna happen. Consistency will win the championship, but race wins are the hard things to get weekly. But you're never going to win a race if you don't put yourself in position. So I think his best option is he's just got to keep doing what he's doing to put himself in contention, and one of them is bound to go his way eventually.
Looks like Matthew Barkhouse has finally shook the two of Ashton Tucker. He moves to position number 5 and now chases down John Fitzpatrick. And I think we're starting to see Ashton fall back a little bit, starting to slip into the clutches of the 88 of Caden Tufts and the 08 of Nicholas Noggle as the 88 takes that nose to the inside, can't get there on Ashton Tucker. And I think this is the point in the run, Brandon, where these guys are starting to feel their race cars out a little bit. They've gone 20 laps of green. They're got a little bit of fuel burnt off. They know what the tires are doing. This is, I guess, where you really start to learn your race car, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. 20 laps in, they had an hour or so of practice, so they know what their car's going to do, but perhaps they didn't get the long run feel in, and we haven't had a yellow yet, so the cars are all intact, and they seem to just be figuring out what their car will actually do on the longer run.
And everybody's still on the racetrack. The only one that did not answer the call to the green was Chris Roma, so he is still in the pit area, has not come out to the racetrack. You saw Dave Cassidy there for a moment in behind this battle with Nicholas Noggle and the 88 of Caden Tufts and the 2 of Ashton Tucker. Kind of mentioned it off one of the TCM shows a couple of weeks ago, Brandon. The future of racing in Atlantic Canada. You get Ashton Tucker, who's won a pile of races here in the last little bit in the Brad Siliker Motorsports car. The 88 of Caden Tufts, a Bandolero driver moving up that, one day might be in the shoes in a pro stock of, Ashton Tucker and Nicholas Noggle. Kind of cool to see these guys, Brandon, battle it out on the virtual racetrack.
Yeah, for sure. And you look through the field, you see Brett Suggs race the super trucks. You see Tanton in a Bando. You see mini stock drivers. You see drivers from all different tracks, all different series, and they're all in one race together for once. So it's pretty cool to see that. And I think it was Tanton the other night, he said he looks up to Ashton Tucker, and now he can actually run on the track with Ashton Tucker.
And right now, he's a little bit ahead of him, as Tanton Woolridge currently sitting in position number 3, and within striking distance of the leader, Ashton Tucker, kind of falling back a little bit. There's that little bit of a gap now in between himself and John Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick got passed by Matthew Barkhouse to 4th, and now Caden Tufts once again flashes a nose to the inside. And it looks like Ashton's kind of falling back to the Miramichiers back there with Dave Cassidy and Conrad Murphy, but putting up a fight. Caden Tufts continues to flash that nose to the inside, Brendan, but hasn't been able to make the move. You're the driver of the 88. How do you set this thing up?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just sitting here thinking about the 88, and he's racing with the 2 there, like you're saying. Look at how much brighter their rotors are glowing compared to, I hadn't really got a good look at the leader, but that just shows how much harder they're running back there over, what is that, 6th place, I believe. That's also something that is kind of would concern me. You're only 20-something laps into this race here, and he already glowing that much.
Noggle nearly had a moment off of corner number 4. That might get the brakes a little bit cooler and might have to set him back in a rhythm. Got a little free off of corner number 4. Almost got into Caden Tufts. No harm, no foul, though. The only downside is that he's now alongside Dave Cassidy as they go side by side. The 89 of Conrad Murphy hops to the outside, and these drivers are starting to move a little bit and trying to pick out some lanes in front of them. The 88 of Caden Tufts finally got to the inside of the 2 of Ashton Tucker, but Tucker seems to get those runs off the corner. Gammon down to the inside, slides that number 98 down to the inside. No harm, no foul there, but Brandon, 30 laps in now. There is a lot of moving around, and there's Mike Alexander, a pole challenge recipient, moving up one more spot.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of moving around for, like you said, 30 laps in, and there's still 120 to go. It's a long race. You don't want the damage, or you don't want to have to fall to the back when you're near the front. So I guess we'll see how it plays out, but we've gone 30 laps with no caution. Who knows? We might even make the whole 150.
We'll bring our producer in here, Paul Strickland Jr., because he's been around for the first 2 races. And Paul, I know from race number 1, we had a huge run at New Smyrna, which ended up in green flag pit stops. With these drivers racing with each other, they know a lot. They know a lot of respect level, I guess, and I guess that lends to this green flag racing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. These guys run a lot with each other here in the RBR Maritime group, and this is the 3rd season they've been here with us on Verdane TV, and you recognize a lot of these drivers from the Tim's Corner Motorsports events, both the weekly Oxford Racing Series as well as all the special events we've been running since last March. So a lot of experience on track and off track with all these drivers. I've been in a lot of the group chats with them. A lot of friendly banter back and forth throughout the week, and a lot of practice sessions throughout the week as well. That's one thing that you don't see with a lot of racing leagues on iRacing. These guys actually schedule a few weekly racing or a few weekly practice sessions where everybody's required to hop in and turn some laps and kind of tweak out their setup. So it works out really good, and everybody's able to kind of fix their setup the way they like it. So it works out really good, makes for some awesome racing.
And with these drivers racing at Nashville, I believe the series is a fixed setup series. You can still adjust a couple of things, but coming up, Brandon, in a couple of weeks' time, these super late models will be on the racetrack here on Vidane TV with the TCM Weekly Series at Nashville. So, albeit the only difference being open setup and realistic weather is Noggle and Tucker are going at it for that spot in front of them. Barkhouse is going at it with Woolridge. I don't know. Well, hello. We caught it there. Conrad Murphy around, and that will bring the caution out. Yellow flag is out on the speedway for the 89 car, and it's about to say, where do you watch? And Brennan will bring you in on the Raise Energy Drink instant replay. What happened here?
Let's see here. I'm trying to get the replay. There it is. Yeah, just typical product of this type of racing with somebody hanging on the outside. You can't always use your momentum all the way up to the wall like you want, and you got two options. You either hit them in the door like that, or you buzz the right rear and risk spinning yourself out. I don't know if he misjudged that, got loose and hit him, or was trying to get in behind him and just completely misjudged it. But either way, that's big time damage on the 89, and his night's probably not going to go well with that damage the rest of the night.
And they do not have a quick repair, and the incident count limit is at 28 for this race. And we don't have the ability to look at the incident count as of right now, but obviously, Brandon, I would think with only one caution in 40 laps, nobody should be relatively close. Brett Suggs is your leader. If you're sitting in the 33 car, Brandon, do you come down pit road? Do you stay out a little bit longer? There's only one set of tires extra in the pits. What do you do here?
This is the tough decision for sure, because it was a 40-lap green flag run. You have sets of tires in the pits, so you can either think, well, maybe we'll go green the rest of the way, I'll take tires and be ahead now, or you can say, I'll hold off for the next caution. So it's definitely a tough call to make, but it looks like Brett and the rest of the field are staying out.
I think the only driver on pit road was Conrad Murphy. He is going to get out ahead of the pace truck and remain on the lead lap. So all 21 cars that started this race are still on the lead lap and still on the racetrack, albeit there's a lot of damage to that number 89 on the front of that race car. Shouldn't be too bad, Brendan, but I think the only thing he might have to worry about would be overheating. I don't think with the Super he has to worry about it much, but that would be the concern, I would think, with the front end damage, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a big concern, but I had a privilege of running the Snowball Derby a month or two ago on iRacing, and I got some damage like that in the nose early on, and it pretty much changed the handling of the car, made it way tighter than it originally was, and I kept burning the right front tire off of it. So that's something to watch here. As far as I'm concerned, I would say I believe his night's probably over. He's just riding around to gain points if people have a bad night like his, but contending for a good finish, I think it's out of reach for him now.
So the top two have been the top two since we dropped the green flag. Matthew Barkhouse has moved up from what would have been his seventh place starting position, though there was two drivers in front of him that did not answer the call. So started a little bit further up, row up from where he was scheduled to start from qualifying. He's up to third. The biggest mover, I believe, is Nicholas Noggle up to sixth place from 12th. Looking for technically your biggest mover would be Mike Alexander, who started at the back of the field, is up to position number 9. Brandon, what are you seeing in these first 40 laps that we might have to watch here in the remaining 110?
I think for sure with the outside and the inside groove working pretty consistently for both grooves, you'll start to see a lot of two-lane racing, and it'll make for a great race near the end.
Pace truck is in, and Brett Suggs is gone. Green flag flies. We're back underway to complete lap number 42 of the VEINOTTE'S Truck and Auto 150. Battle going to be for position at number 2, and Matthew Barco is going to try to get to the inside and make that move, and Brendan looks like he made it fairly easy, and now Roma's under fire from John Fitzpatrick. Great little battle for second.
Yeah, it's not over yet by any means. Definitely the top seems to be more dominant, for getting that straighter exit, but he made it look easy there.
And John Fitzpatrick now going to be in position number 4, chasing down Travis Roma. First time Travis Roma has been outside the top 2 all night long, and now tries to chase down Matthew Barkos and his teammate Brett Suggs. And the driver on the move is Mike Alexander, your pole challenge recipient. As Craig Tully is around in the front, we stay green. The 75 of Alexander continues to look to the inside of the 08 of Noggle, the 2 and the 88 side by side as Brett Suggs comes by. There's that battle on our screen. Caden Tufts looking at the 2, and there's Mike Alexander down to the inside trying to make it work on the 08 of Noggle.
Hey, he's definitely making the bottom work. This is shocking because I definitely did not see the bottom being able to make passes here. I figured you were going to have to move up top to get it done, but he might have saved his tires there on that first run. That's something to also think about.
Yeah, he's worked his way up, and the 75 to the back of the 56 now at Tanton Woolridge. That would be a top 5 run if he can get there, but Nicholas Noggle not letting him go easy, still putting the pressure on the CRF number 75 as they continue to work. There's a battle mid-pack as the 34 of Mike Rhino and the 19 of Derek Gates go at it for a position. Right in front of them, Brad Hayes, who started at the back of the field, starting to work his way up. Brandon, there is a name that we don't usually talk about a whole lot until the end of the race, Brad Hayes in the 17, but he's up against it. He started at the very back of the field, but made up a couple of spots by the looks of it.
Yeah, so far he's up 9 spots. He started 21st, so I haven't seen him too much because, like you said, he usually comes right at the end of the race, the right place, the right time. But he seems to be making the moves he needs to make, and I think he'll keep gaining spots.
Battle for the lead up in front. The 15 of Matthew Barkow is going to go to the inside of Brett Suggs as they'll go door to door at a corner number 4 for that top spot. Suggs going to get the run off the corner just enough to lead a lap number 50, but the 15 of Matthew Barkos working that inside, trying to take it away, and little close quarter racing up in front, Brendan, as they put on a show for that lead position.
Right when you thought he might edge him, he tried to run him up the hill just a little bit down in 1 and 2. The outside prevailed, so Brett might have went a little too hard. Like I said, that first 75 laps kind of feel what you got, but his teammate here must have been lying in the weeds and not running as hard as he was, because here he goes as he might have led that lap right there.
And Barkos in the 15 definitely going to lead that lap. So we saw this before with him and Ashton Tucker going side by side, Brandon. How long can you go up there? And if you're Brett Suggs, how far do you push it? But I would almost think we get another caution here in the next 20, 25, 30 laps or so. You're likely coming down into pit road. So if you're Brett Suggs, how long do you try to stay out there?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we had that 40-lap green flag run, so you don't know if or when the next yellow is going to come. So it looks like he's going to try to keep it up there as long as he can and maybe gain that lead back. We have Travis Roma right behind him, too, just watching the show. So there's always the opportunity to gain that extra spot when there's a car on the inside or outside when both lanes work. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens.
He's not concerned about burning it up, I don't think, Brendan, as he goes to the outside. Brett Suggs continues to put the pressure on the 15 of Matthew Barkos, and we kind of mentioned respect off the top of the show as well. There's a lot of respect being shown by these two up here. Brett's kind of pinching him down to that inside lane, but giving him enough room to make that move, and Matthew Barkos has enough room to race him. There's a lot of respect here being shown by these top two.
Yeah, I think it's definitely go time on this set of tires. If we were to get a caution now, I think everybody's prepared to pit. That's why the racing has changed for the lead here. Everybody's trying to get that track position of being the leader for another restart, but it's definitely too early for him to run him up the hill or anything here. But if this is the last 10 laps, I think there might be a little less room given, right? But still super early.
So now here's the problem. You mentioned go time on the tires, Brennan, but it looks like these two, when you run side by, a caution is out, so that's going to negate the thought. I was about to say these guys are kind of backing up about back to 6th or 7th, but that's going to put everything away. We'll look at the Rays Energy Drink instant replay, and Brennan, it starts with the 57 of John Byron.
Yes, it looks like he got in there pretty good, and he definitely got help. I don't know if the 67 just rolled in there way faster than he was or what. Might have been intentional. I'll have to look back, see if they had been getting into it or not, but he definitely got turned around there.
Field bypasses pit road, at least for about your top 10 or so. I think this was the opportunity that, Brandon, if you were going to come down and play some sort of strategy, this would be the caution to do so. Because if we go another 40 laps or so under green, then you're going to have to worry about tires and worry about fuel. But I think these guys, for the most part, aren't really concerned about it right now. They're staying out and not coming down pit road to take that set of tires.
Yeah, I think it's more of a follow the leader type deal. So if you see Brett Suggs dip below the yellow line to go pit, I think you'll see everybody else follow him. So I think they're just hoping for another yellow and maybe get the set of tires later in the race.
The 98 of Kyle Gammon coming down onto pit road, and I think that was the driver closest towards the front of the field that is coming down to get service on his race car. So that might be something to keep an eye on. John Byron is pulling down pit road in the 57. He was in that last caution flag, so he'll get service to his race car, the driver from Sydney, Nova Scotia. But up in front continues to be Brett Suggs, Matthew Barkhouse, Travis Roma, your top 3, John Fitzpatrick, Mike Alexander, your top 5. And Brennan, this could make this restart interesting because we have a lap 65 bonus from the Royal Volts, $10 to the leader of lap 65. We're probably going to go green at 63-64, so this might be a fairly interesting 2 laps for those drivers up front.
Well, now that you mentioned that, I didn't know about that award. That right there is probably why they didn't pit, and it's also probably why they were racing that hard there. Brett keeping the lead there is going to be big, I think, to control this restart. I think he's probably going to be in good shape, but hey, it's racing, anything can happen. But that leads me to they're probably banking on making it a lap 75 to take that set of tires somewhere between 75 and 100. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. Luckily for the leaders, most of the field stayed out, so they're not down a set of tires yet to everybody.
Everybody that's on the racetrack is still on the lead lap, with the exception of Taylor Layton. Layton in the 27 car has scored as 16 laps down, and as I say that, John Byron has gone 1 lap down from his service on pit road. So other than that, 19 drivers on the lead lap. All 21 that we started with are still on the racetrack as the pace truck lights are off. We're getting ready to go back to green. And Brandon, this will set us up with a 2-lap dash to that lap 65 bonus from the Royal Volts. Who's going to take it away?
Well, as we saw before, Brett Suggs was making the outside work, so I don't know if he was just quicker than Barkhouse or if the outside's working, but he got a good jump here, so we'll see what Barkhouse can do in the next lap and see if he can take that money away.
But that'll put Barkhouse in the back bumper of Brett Suggs as we go back to green, side by side for third in behind them. But we'll see if Barkhouse can get a run on the 33 of Brett Suggs and see if he can wiggle his way to the inside and maybe try to take that bonus away. 64 completed here, so $10 to the leader of the next lap by as they battle for position number 4 in behind. It's Travis Roma to the inside, Mike Alexander to the outside, as Alexander will take that away, and the bonus from the Royal Volts will go to Brett Suggs this time, as Brett's taken all the money so far. Brennan, he won the Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing Pole Award. He's won the Royal Volts 65-lap award. Now he's going to try to take away the race victory, so he's doing pretty well for himself up front tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely he won practice, I believe. He won qualifying, won this award. It's just interesting to me. If I'm 5th or 6th, I would have pitted there. You know, he just proved that track position is going to be really big for these restarts and keeping it out front. If I was 5th or 6th and didn't really have a good car, I'd have came down pit road and be playing that strategy to get the lead when they pit. So it's very interesting that nobody gambled like that.
we've seen a couple of drivers that started up in the top 5 or so fade back a little bit. Tanton Woolridge is back to 7th after starting up in the top 5. We saw Caden Tufts run well earlier. He's back to position number 10. So we're starting to see those drivers fall back. Ashton Tucker moved up a little bit with that pole challenge being shuffled back, and he's up to position number 8. So there's some drivers shuffling their way through, but you see Brett Suggs holding a pretty wheel up in front. Looking through the battles right now, Brandon, it looks like everybody for the most part is single file except for maybe around Dave Cassidy and Caden Tufts. But other than that, I think they found a place to ride, and we've seen that turn into a long green flag run. So if you're sitting back here in the middle of the pack, are you thinking this one might go to, lap 100 and beyond?
Yeah, for sure. We've had 2 pretty long runs so far, so I think if you're sitting, near the middle, you're just trying to make sure your car ends up in one piece, because anything can happen if that caution comes out, and I think you're just trying to, keep yourself clean and hope for the best at the end.
Mike Alexander's been flashing the nose a couple laps in this 78 of John Fitzpatrick to try to take position number 3 away, but we're starting to see the top 6 break away a little bit of a conga line all the way back to Tanton Woolridge, and then a little gap back to Ashton Tucker. So Brennan, I think these 6 have kind of found their way around here and kind of comfortable with the way that they are running, and maybe comfortable on these old tires compared to the new tires that are sitting down there on pit road for, I would almost think, the next caution that comes out.
Yeah, it could be another thing is their tires are so worn out now. It's getting harder to race each other. But if this was to stay green all the way through, you got to think. I didn't quite see who pitted, but if they didn't have damage and they put some fuel in it, some tires, they might not have to stop. I mean, I'm not saying there's not going to be another caution, but if there wasn't, that could hand the race to somebody that we're not even talking about.
I don't know if this fixed setup can go 150 laps on fuel. Brandon, have you run the fixed setup with the Super at Nashville?
No, I actually haven't. I don't run Nashville too often. I could never figure this place out. That's why I'm so impressed with these guys. But I know Brendan said he's run a few times, so maybe he's got some better input.
I don't know exactly the fuel mileage. I had never ran supers here for this long of a race, but most standard fixed setups are not 150 laps on fuel. The iRacing fixed series do not run this many laps, so unless the admins added more fuel to it, I don't think they can go to distance, as we got to change from the lead here.
Yeah, I don't think they can either. Usually those fixed setups are like 100 to 125 laps tops, but we will soon see, and kind of saw it at New Smyrna a few weeks ago, but Matthew Barkow is going to try to go back to the lead. Hello. Little contact, Suggs into the wall, and John Fitzpatrick wants to pick up a couple of spots as well. The driver from Charlottetown looking to get into this battle for the lead between Matthew Barkhouse and Brett Suggs, and Barkhouse trying to drive away with this lead, Brandon, but Brett Suggs again holding on to that outside, but it's got a little bit of at least cosmetic damage down to the right-hand side.
Yeah, that might affect the handling of the car for sure. Especially, it wasn't too hard, but these cars are pretty touchy, so anything will affect it. But it looks like Barkhouse is in the lead, and we'll see if Suggs can stick on his bumper or if he'll build that lap.
Looks like Caden Tufts is getting racy back there as he battles with the 38 of Travis Roma to try to pick up one more spot. Or check that, that's Nicholas Noggle in the 08 car to the inside of the 38 of Travis Roma. The 56 of Tanton Woolridge battling back there as well. That's for 4th on back as the top 3 now begin, or top 4 now begin to break away a little bit from what is the battle for back to position number 5. So it's now time in this race where those tires are going away. The fuel load is getting a little bit lighter for these drivers up in front, and they might be thinking whether it is a green flag or a caution flag pit stop. We almost anticipate there to be a pit stop as Fitzpatrick loses one spot to the 75 of Alexander. So, Brendan, these guys have to be thinking that mindset. We're getting closer to lap 100. We're in the second half of this race. Got to put myself in a position to try to win this thing and also have a good spot to potentially come down pit road here.
If I'm Brett Suggs, you've led the whole race here. You don't want to throw it away. You hit the wall just a little bit. Car's still in good shape. You're still running same times as the leader all over him. You don't want to put yourself in a position here where you throw it away. If it's going to come down to a green flag stop, I think he's got a short pit the leader to get that lead back. And that's going to be interesting to see, like I said, who doesn't have to pit. If there's anybody that did pit and take fuel, there's so many variables right now. And the best thing Brett can do is just put that away, because once you start thinking about it, that's when you start looking at things and you hit the wall again and you hit the wall again. And that's how your night can go south real quick.
And he's also got the 75 closing in from behind, so he's stuck in a Rev Racing sandwich of teammates in between there. You can see them on the TV panels of the 15 and the 75, the team logo for Rev as the 33 of Suggs, representing Roma Brothers Racing in this one, currently sitting in second. And John Fitzpatrick's kind of sitting back there in position number 3. And if there's anybody, Brandon, that we talk fuel mileage on these short track races and some of these races, it almost has to be John Fitzpatrick. Won that race at Dover based on a fuel mileage race on Saturday night. Won the Jim Hallahan 333 earlier in January on a fuel mileage strategy. So you almost have to think that if there's any sort of strategy that comes into play, whether it's tire wear or whether it's fuel, 78 has to be a favorite.
Yeah, he always seems to be in the right place at the right time, and I'm not sure if his strategy, if he's just a really smart math guy or if he gets lucky in the end, but it seemed to work out for him lately, so.
Noggle continues to work the 38 of Travis Roma for position number 5, and I think he's got it this time. Noggle to position number 5, and Tanton Woolridge going to try to follow him through in the 56 car to try to take position number 6. So Travis Roma, one small slip's going to cost him at least 1, maybe 2 positions as Woolridge continues to fight the inside, little sideways for the 56, and he will let the battle go to the 38 that time as you ride on board with Roma, looking up at the Rycon Construction 08 of Noggle, and you start to see that field up ahead. It looks like for the moment, Brendan trying to get single file, though it looked like the 75 tried to flash the nose there.
Yeah, at this point in the race, you're slipping and sliding. This is not the fun part on this set of tires. They're almost 100 laps in, and I can tell you, I don't think anybody in this top 6, 7 has been riding that hard. So it's definitely those right rear tires are used up, and in some cases the right front tire is probably used up. But and I'm impressed with Alexander that started at the rear. You know, he might have rode a little bit in the beginning, but it's going to come down to a short run here if they get a caution for the tire situation. So he's learned a lot having to pass the most cars, and I almost think he's probably in the best position because he knows how to get through the traffic compared to the 2 that have been up front all night.
Danny Vitch on pit road, but he was near the back of the field and about to be lapped when he came down onto pit road. Saw that quick little battle there between the 67 of Creswell and the 5 of Tully. But for the most part, I think that might have been the only side-by-side battle on the racetrack. We kind of have 3 distinct packs here. We saw that pack of like 6 or 7, then up in front of them, you kind of see Derek Gates and Brad Hayes going at it. That's the best battle, I think, on the racetrack right now. That is at least side-by-side, Brandon. Brad Hayes going to lose 2 here to the 19 and the 89 as they continue to work around this racetrack. And Barkhouse up in front, 94 laps completed now, and he's pulled away. Those top 3 have pulled away from 4th on back with John Fitzpatrick. And we're seeing it all over the racetrack, Brandon. What Brennan had mentioned, slipping and Nicholas Noggle slipping and sliding as well in car number 8, and he's going to, I believe, tag the wall and lose a couple spots here.
Yeah, I was actually watching the lap times a lap ago. Nicholas Noggle seemed to be the quickest car on track, so perhaps he's just trying to gain that little bit of extra speed, which these tires after 96 laps, they probably don't have too much speed left in them. So one quick step on the gas and you'll be pretty much around.
And now Tanton Woolridge is going to try to get that inside line on the 08 of Noggle as they go side by side. Little slip from the 56 that time as he'll fall in behind the 08 car. Matthew Barkhouse continues to lead up in front of this pack. So we're starting to see these packs kind of separate from each other, Brennan. We're seeing 3 cars up in front. What was once a 7-car pack is now essentially a 3 and a 4. And then you go back to about 9th place and you see Dave Cassidy all by himself, and then you see some other cars battling for those positions. So now this is the time where we saw it with Noggle make that one small mistake. You really have to walk that fine line to make sure that you put down the throttle and don't end up in the fence.
Yeah, this I can guarantee you is the worst feeling for all these drivers right now. These cars are not driving great. They're a handful. Like I said, get ready to come to lap 100 here. These guys are really praying for a caution at this moment. I can guarantee you, being in this position, and you make one mistake, the tire. Oh, there's caution. But like I said, the tires don't just cool down, and you make a mistake under green, it's tough to get it to cool back down and get in a rhythm again.
It was right ahead of your leaders there as the leaders were coming by to lap Wade Craswell and John Byron. And that will bring the yellow flag out and should bring the field onto pit road. And Brennan will bring you in with the Raise Energy Drink instant replay. And what happened here between Craswell and Byron?
Well, another one of those things. It looks like the 67 there, he checked up as he got a piece of the wall. And actually, didn't he turn the 57 around earlier in the race? I'm not familiar with the names of all these drivers yet, but I think this is their second or third run-in today.
Yeah, I don't think this was their first one, and who knows, it may not be their last. As field is on pit road, Barkhouse is going to take the tires and come off of pit road first. Brett Suggs right in behind him, and we might have a race for third here, and Alexander is still stuck in his box, and he is going to lose a ton of position. So our Vino's Truck and Auto pole challenge recipient, there he goes off of pit road, is gonna, Brandon, it's not the back of the field, but it's probably about 10th or 12th when he comes out here.
Yeah, and one thing that we didn't notice, but I went back to watch it, Nick Noggle actually took 2 tires and came out in front of Barkhouse and Suggs. So Nick Noggle is the new leader.
Yes, he is. That'll put the 08 car to the top of the board. The drivers around him, in front of him. I think Danny Vitch behind him kind of wanted Noggle to come down into pit road, though Danny is now 4 laps behind the pace. Taylor Layton is 15 laps. John Byron in front of the leader. He is currently 2 laps down. So we'll see what happens here. Those two should get a wave around in front of the leader and behind the pace truck. So now, what changes here mindset-wise, Brennan, in these last, what will probably be 40 laps and 40 and change? You got the leader on 2 tires. Everybody else seems to be on 4. What's your mindset if you're sitting back there in Matthew Barkhouse or Brett Suggs' race car?
In my mind, it's go time. You just ran 100 laps on the tires, so now you got to split that in half or a little under half and run 40-something laps here when we get to green. You want to get the lead. Whoever can get to the lead first is probably going to have the best shot of winning this race. I think the 4 tires is going to outdo the 2 tires, but like I said, it really just depends who can use the outside to their advantage. But I think whoever can get out front here on 4 tires is going to be the guy to beat.
We got Kyle Gammon in the number 98 car up here as well. Kyle was running near the front of the field a little bit earlier on, but now he's going to run in position number 5. So it'll be Nicholas Noggle, Matthew Barkhouse, Brett Suggs, John Fitzpatrick, Kyle Gammon, top 5 after pit stops. Travis Roma, Ashton Tucker, Dave Cassidy, Tanton Woolridge, and Mike Rhino. Mike Alexander will start in 17th position. Last car on the lead lap. Little pushing and shoving at the front. Green flag flies. We are back underway, and Nicholas Noggle going to lead us down into corner number 1. And Brandon Sparks flying from the 15 car as he may have scraped the wall in the front.
Yeah, that whole restart was kind of hairy. Obviously, as the leader, you want to make sure you take off first and get the jump. So looks like Noggle did get the jump, and Barkhouse got a part of the wall, but he's back on his bumper.
Couple laps after a restart, you kind of have to set your sights and try to get the tires underneath you. And Brennan, how are these supers on cold tires, especially after a pit stop? And if you're Nicholas Noggle, how much is the virtual stagger maybe upset a little bit when you take 2 tires?
Yeah, I don't tend to like to take 2 tires unless it's you're only allowed to take right sides. Obviously, you'll put right side stickers on. But big trouble back here. The 19's around.
And that will be the caution flag. That is Derek Gates. Danny Vitch. Hello, John Byron in the 57 trying to slow down. He will do so. So the caution flag flies one more time. And Brennan, you caught it. We'll put it back one more time and send it to you on the Raise Energy Drink instant replay.
Sorry about that. I had to call that out. Looks like he went over to bump there and checked up, and 88 did not check up. So that's one of those things in short track racing as a chain reaction there. As you can see in slow-mo here, I mean, it's like right when he hit that bump, he got out of the throttle, and I think the 88 was gassing it up. And once you get hit, you can't do much about it. But like I was saying there, to finish up about the two-tire thing, it's just something to watch on the restarts I didn't even think about. The wheel spin, having those old tires. He was holding on pretty good, but I just really thought four tires would be the way to go.
Yeah, he's going to be up in front. We saw that restart get a little bit hairy, but for the most part, everybody got through with what they had, and everybody is still straight. There really wasn't a whole lot of position gain, I don't think, through that, Brandon. Mike Alexander started at the back of the field. He's going to gain one because Caden Tufts is going to be shown the rear for the restart due to his involvement in that caution flag, so he'll move up one more spot. Matthew Barkhouse will be on the back bumper. Nicholas Noggle, 4 tires versus 2. Brett Suggs has led the most laps in this race so far. He'll restart in third. John Fitzpatrick, Travis Roma, Ashton Tucker, Tanton Woolridge, they've run up front for most of the race. Kyle Gammon's kind of been a yo-yo back and forth a little bit when it comes to track position. So I still think, Brandon, this is anybody's race, especially with Nicholas Noggle up in front. We've seen him run really well, but now he has the track position. Could this be the difference?
Yeah, with the outside working almost as well as the inside, or if better, it'll definitely be tough for him to hold off Barkhouse and Suggs and Fitzpatrick. But one guy we shouldn't count out yet, even though there'll be about 35 to go when we go green. Mike Alexander's way back there, but I think he'll find his way back to the front.
Yeah, still plenty of laps, but not a whole lot of laps to get it done, and especially if we get a couple late race cautions, it's going to impact what the 75 can do. But Brennan sitting back in 15th, do you think he can get back up here and contend for the win?
He's going to need a lot of luck. I think he's definitely fast enough, and at times there, I thought he late in the race here, I thought he might have had a shot to win. I don't know if anybody got a report of what happened on pit road. I don't know if he mischecked his tires or what happened, but that would be an interesting story to hear about, because I bet you he knows that was probably his shot at the race he threw away. But it's not over till it's over. He needs a lot of luck here and some cautions, but I think it's going to be a long hill to climb.
It's definitely going to be a long way to get back from the back of the field, but if anybody can do it, it'd be the driver of that number 75, multi-time winner here on Flag Flies. And Barkhouse is going to lose second to Brett Suggs. Brandon Suggs is going to take that runner-up spot and try to see if he can't get the Noggle.
Yeah, with somebody that ran so well at the start of the race, on the new tires with 35 laps to go, I think Suggs will have a good run for Noggle, and we'll see Barkhouse and Fitzpatrick right on their bumpers.
There goes the 2 of Ashton Tucker to the inside of the 38, or outside of the 38, check that, of Travis Roma. Roma trying to grab one more position and move himself to position number 5, and Tanton Woolridge a part of that battle as well. And behind them, Kyle Gammon losing a spot. It's a caution flag will fly one more time. Yellow flag back out on the speedway, and it is the 67 one more time away. Creswell is Paul. It's the same 2 cars, but it's not them being involved with each other.
Yeah, we're noticing that. The 57 and the 67 both having rough nights here at Nashville Speedway here in the RBR Maritime group. And we'll take a look at the replay. You can see the 67 coming into turn number 2 on the back stretch. And you can see there's the contact there between the 88 and the 57. And it looks like the 88 just got in there a little bit too deep. We'll pull that up. We're actually going to pull that up from the chopper view and take a quick little peek at that. And you can see right there, gets kind of shot around, tries to overcorrect it, and just shoots up on that outside wall, and then gets a little bit of contact there. The 67 trying to kind of avoid all that calamity there. You see him, the 67 Craswell down low, and Danny Vitch tries to go down low, but spotter didn't tell him that there was a car there, so unfortunately gets put into that wall down on the bottom side. So tough break, late going here, a little bit of damaged up race cars toward the back of the pass. Still Nicholas Noggle, 2 tires, man, holding off We'll see if that can hold on, but I do want to take just a quick opportunity. Thank everybody for hanging out here with us on the social media, over on the YouTube, the Facebook, the regulars over there. Got to thank Scott Randall and everybody over at in the Facebook chat. Jordan Vino over there just tuned in. The poll challenge went to the number 15 of Barkhouse, and he is currently running in third. Check that. Nope, that was 75 of Mike Alexander. Alexander is running in the 11th spot right now. So, and everybody over on Twitch too have got the race on the Strictly 94 stream, and Butterbean seems to be having a party over on his Twitch. Got to give a shout out to they call me Paco and RBR's 12, kind of hanging out watching the race, and Butterbean making his Vidane TV debut over here, and pretty cool to have you on board. And man, this is a pretty good, pretty entertaining race here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I didn't want to talk over anybody there. I appreciate you having me. The Mullet Mafia is in here having a party. They're not used to me, or as I should say, they're not used to seeing me not in the car. But I'm still here hanging out. I'd love to be racing, but I'm having a blast, and definitely love to do this some more. I can't thank y'all enough for having me. Tim, your class act, working with you, and Brandon, it's been a blast.
And for those who don't know, before we go back to green, you guys were in an ARCA race earlier tonight, and Brennan, you ended up finishing ahead of Mr. Campbell, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to take credit for that, but it was definitely a struggle for both of us. But that's what happens when you don't practice at North Wilkesboro.
For the record, the entire field finished ahead of me.
Well, that's usually what happens when you finish last. Green flag flies. We're back underway. We've got 30 laps to go. Noggle ahead of the field, but now Brett Suggs. And I'm almost a familiar position to the outside. Brandon, if you're that 15 car, almost little contact, and somebody's up and over. The 98 at Kyle Gammon's on his dome, and that will probably draw a yellow flag, and indeed it will.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure how that works, if it was last completed lap and then Noggle will keep the lead or not, but definitely a good run from Suggs on the outside. I think it's just the 4 tires overpowering the 2.
Okay, Brennan, we'll give it to you on the Raise Energy Drink Instant Replay. What happened there to send the 98 for a ride?
I think these guys are just getting antsy back here. That bump there, I'm telling you, off of 2, this place is bumpy, and it looks like as he hit the bump there, just started sliding up as he was being pinched at the same time. And when you both go for that same piece of real estate, normally no one comes out with the good end.
And there's the onboard look from Kyle Gammon. You get to see the bump, and you can see the way that thing's traveling around that. And you just kind of got the apron a little bit there and traveled up the racetrack, and it just got hooked from that point with Brad Hayes and went for a ride. Those two drivers sort of familiar with themselves, racing 4-cylinder Thunder cars at Scotia Speed World on a somewhat regular basis. Kyle Gammon's won a ton of features. Has been part-time the last couple of years, and as we mentioned, moving to, that's a beautiful view of the number 17 going up and over. And Brad Hayes getting back into 4-cylinder racing here the last couple of years, racing in that Thunder car division, had a couple of podium finishes, still looking for that checkered flag, and who knows, it might come in 2021, but not the way they wanted to run their virtual races. Craig Tully gave a little help to his teammate there, I think, to send him almost to the moon, and he'll come down and get what's left of that thing massaged out, I guess, Brandon, but it doesn't look pretty for the 17 car.
Yeah, especially with 25 laps to go, being 17th position with damage. I think his shot of winning the race is over, and like we said earlier, it's one of those guys you don't really talk about till the end of the race, but it's a few laps sooner tonight that we're talking about him.
And it's one of those deals where he's running for points, and there is one drop race, but you don't want to lose a drop race. We've seen it here before with the RBR series. We saw it with the weekly series that we had on Wednesday evenings here on Vidane TV, that one bad race can put you back. 2 bad races might knock you out of the championship, and 3 bad races is definitely going to knock you out of at least a top 5 run when it comes to the championship, when these guys are so darn consistent up in front, when you're racing guys like Brett Suggs, Nicholas Noggle, Barkhouse, and Woolridge, and Alexander, and Fitzpatrick, and those guys every single week. You have to be on your game, and Brendan, regardless if there's a drop race or not, with a 6-race series, you really can't afford to have a bad night.
No, you can't. And, you never really go into the season thinking about points right off the bat, but you also got to know when you start a championship campaign, you can lose a championship opening night. So with it being 6 races, you have to treat every race where if you can't win, you need to get the best finish you can, and don't put yourself in a hole that's going to cost you at the end of the season.
With a drop race, you definitely can't win it on race number 1. You definitely can't lose it on race number 1, but that mindset and that hole can definitely be dug bigger as you go through the season. Pace truck is awful. Try this again. 126 completed. Oh, and we're almost wrecking at the back. We're still green. But those guys, oh, no, there they go. 98 to Kyle Gammon around, and that will draw the caution.
Yeah, it's a tough night for Kyle Gammon so far. Definitely not what he expected, but it looks like he's going to have to use his 1 drop week tonight.
We'll take a look at the Rays Energy Drink instant replay, and Brennan, that wasn't his fault to start off. It looked like they checked up in front of him.
Yeah, this is just a case of everybody's getting really antsy, and they call it, I guess, wrecking for 90th back there. No, I don't know. They checked up, and I think all he was thinking was he had a hole to get by those cars going slow, and it just kind of, I don't know if he thought he was clear or it looks like he just got hooked. So very interesting there. I mean, he's already at the back. I don't think that's what he wanted to do at all, but when your night's going bad, it just gets worse sometimes, and that looks like that's what's happening for him.
Brandon, as a race car driver on this sim, you're sitting in Kyle Gammon's shoes, you're sitting in the cockpit, and you see those guys, have that little incident on the restart. You're kind of already committed to the inside and kind of committed to the middle. I guess at what point do you kind of take the patience route and kind of let it get single file and kind of let it play out, and what's the point that you go and you try to pick up those couple of spots when you can on everybody jacking up?
I mean, with 20 laps to go in position 17, you kind of got to take what you can get at this point, and when the green flag comes out, obviously you're ready to be on the gas, and if there's 6 or 7 cars slow in front of you, you want to take the gap, but usually it doesn't really work out on a restart.
So we will restart this one with more than likely it'll be less than 20 laps to go, and Brett Suggs scored as your leader. Now Nicholas Noggle will be on the outside, Barkhouse, Fitzpatrick, and Roma. So not a whole lot of change up front, Brennan, but with I guess at that point, a couple of feet of green flag racing. There might have been 1 or 2 positions that swap back there outside about the top 8 or 9 or so. Speaking of the top 8, give a call out to Mike Rhino. The driver from Lawrencetown is currently in position number 8. And he started at the back of the field as well after qualifying near the front of the field, was put to the end of the longest line when we went green flag racing. So he is currently up in the top 10. And Mike Alexander, our Vino's Truck and Auto Pole Challenge recipient, is sitting back in position number 10. So he was able to dodge most of that stuff that happened back there, Brennan. And now he's still got a top 10 run, but he's running out of laps.
Yeah, laps is going to be his biggest defeat tonight. That one pit road mistake looks like it may cost his shot at a win. But, for Noggle taking those 2 tires, if he could have kept the lead, it might have paid off for a win. But I don't know exactly where he was running before the pit stop and the 2-tire decision. But, I mean, he has a shot here to still win this race. And if not, finish a respectful second. And all because of that strategy and a little luck from the cautions.
So the field is doubled up one more time, and we'll get ready to see the green flag fly. We'll have 18 laps to go, and the field's starting to dwindle a little bit, but we still have 20 drivers on the racetrack. The only 2 drivers that have retired from the race so far. Actually, the only driver retired from the race so far is John Byron in the 57. Green flag flies, and we are back underway, and we're wrecking at the back again, and that will draw the caution. And hate to point it out, but it's the same couple of cars, Brandon, that seem to be bringing these yellows out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a case of, trying to get all the positions you can at the end or what, but with the field we have here, you definitely need to have those extra positions, but being 14th position with 15 laps to go, it's just not looking good if you're at the back of the pack right now.
Caden Tufts did half a lap backwards around this racetrack, Brennan, so not sure what that was about, but we'll bring up the Rays Energy Drink Instant Replay one more time, Brennan, and we'll see what happened here.
I think it's going to be the same thing we've been seeing here. Somebody, I think, thought he was clear or something there, it looks like, and when you get right reared, it's never a good day. I don't know. It looks like I think these guys back here are just – it's a lot of stop and go, and they're trying to get in line. And I don't know if he just misjudged it and turned to 17 there, but the 88 definitely got him in the right rear.
And Brandon, we talked about when you have a bad night, you have a bad night. It happens from time to time as you ride on board with Mark Williams trying to get through this wreck, and you see the 88 car decide he wants to drive backwards for half the lap. Oh, hello, and gets by that one too. Good avoidance by Mark Williams. But Brandon, when it's not your night, it's not your night. We talked about this on the last caution. When you're battling back there for 17th and 18th, you got to kind of pick what you have, and it's for those guys up in front, for these guys here that are racing here, Brett Suggs and Nicholas Noggle and Matthew Barkos. It has to be frustrating for those drivers, knowing that you're running out of laps to get it done. For those guys at the back, they're trying to get what they can. It's got to be frustrating for these guys, though, that are trying to battle for the win.
Yeah, I think the only one in the field right now that's hoping this continues to click off the laps under yellow is Brett Suggs. But for the guys anywhere behind them, they're really hoping this stays green. They can gain their positions. But we had the green flag runs at the start, and I guess at the end everyone's a little antsy to try to get to the front.
And I was interested to get that 30-lap run or so to see what Noggle had on the tires, because he only has two brand new tires on that Brycon construction car when we went green flag racing after the field came down pit road. But Brendan, we're going to restart with probably 11, 12 laps to go. We've gone, the last two cautions have been about 500 feet since we threw the green flag to the caution. So hopefully we can get a few laps in here. And I'm interested to see what Noggle can do on those old tires, especially starting on the outside of Brett Suggs.
I think Noggle's best bet here is he needs to get a good restart. It's so difficult to pass on the bottom. He's going to have to time it. If he can hang even with Suggs getting into one, that's going to be the race for the lead. If Suggs is able to clear him, I don't think he's got enough tire to just drive up there and get the lead. But if he can hang on that outside and make him work and slip on the bump, that's going to be the race for the win here.
We'll roll down the back straightaway and put this thing back under green with 12 laps remaining as Brett Suggs, Nicholas Noggle, your front row, Matthew Barkhouse, John Fitzpatrick, Travis Roma, your top five. Pace truck will pull it in to pit road, and field will be in command of the Custom Matco number 33 of Suggs. Green flag flies, and top two get away once again, and it looks like for the most part, I think, Brandon, knock on wood, we've made it by the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's the first time in a couple attempts we made it past, with coming up on 11 to go. Hopefully we can finish this in green and everyone will play out where they're supposed to be.
Top 6 or 7 or so are single file, back to about the battle for position number 7. It's got Mike Rhino, Ashton Tucker back to single file, and there goes Alexander to the inside, trying to pick up one more position. So the field has got a little bit of a groove now, but they can't wait. They can't rest anymore, Brennan, because we're coming down to 10 to go.
Yeah, this is it. I think Noggle's in defense now, and he's racing for second at this point. But like I said, I don't know exactly where he was running before the pit stop, but it's definitely worked out for him if he can maintain here. He had a shot to win, and it's not over yet. Suggs can make a mistake here, but I think Suggs is probably smiling right now. He's in a good situation, and the race is on for second.
The battle is on for P2 as Matthew Barkhouse tries to take it away from Nicholas Noggle. Brett Suggs trying to pull away with this victory. He'll come by with 8 laps to go, and you look at that battle throughout. I think the only real battle there is in between Mike Alexander and potentially Ashton Tucker back there. There goes the 56 at Tanton. Woolridge wants a top 5 spot on Travis Roma. So these drivers, Brandon, if they have a position in front of them, it's definitely time to go. They'll come by with 7 to go.
Yeah, it's time to go for sure, and especially where this is just not, a one-off race. This is for a points championship. You're trying to gain all the positions you can, and yeah, they're just trying to get every single position they can get out of this.
Battle up in front continues to be your top three as they are single file down across the stripe, and Nicholas Noggle nearly ran at a racetrack at a corner number 4. The 15 now going to flash that nose down to the inside as they continue to duke it out for position number 2. You're right on board with the Celtic Air Service number 15 and Matthew Barkhouse. As Brennan, he's got to try to make a move around Nicholas Noggle. How does he do it?
Well, you know, he's probably trying to do it the right way here. Obviously, I believe he's being held up by Noggle, and he's probably getting frustrated right now because he knows this is his shot at the win, running away from him, because the longer this goes on, Suggs is on a Sunday drive out there, probably just maintaining the gap now. So, you know, I don't know their point situation. Like you said, you got to be smart here. Third place still might be a good points day for him, but you know, he's definitely frustrated with the way the restarts and the cautions have fallen.
Through 2 races, Barkhouse is the point leader, but with 1 drop race in those first 2 races, it's really anybody's game in race number 3. And I think Barkhouse might have a better car here, Brandon, but he's got to get by Noggle. He's only got about 2 laps to do it this time by.
Yeah, if you know you're there's a little contact there, but you know, if you can't keep up with the leader, you're at least trying to hold on to second place as Barkhouse goes to the inside. But Noggle's just trying to, you know, make sure he finishes ahead of Barkhouse.
Do what he has to do to maintain position number 2. But up in front, Brett Suggs is going to see the white flag this time by. This battle for position number 2 is far from over. Final lap in the Vino Struckenauto 150, and the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse to the inside, all over the back bumper of Nicholas Noggle, but Brett Suggs in the 33, the custom Matco number 33, going to come by. Oh, contact for second, and Barkhouse shoved the 08 up the hill. It's going to be Brett Suggs taking the Vino Struckenauto 150, and Barkhouse to second, Noggle to third. And Brennan, if you're Nicholas Noggle, how pleased are you with the 15?
I'm not very pleased, to be honest with you. Like I said, obviously the temper must have been running hot in Barkhouse's car there. He probably feels like it cost him a win or a shot at the win. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect that. I expected maybe a little bump, but he just drove through him.
And that was quite an aggressive move from the 15, and I'm sure we'll talk to those top 3 following this race. You take a little look at it here behind the unofficial results, and it looked like Brandon the 15 got to the inside of him and just coming down this time by through 3 and 4. And, well, you used a little bit of that chrome horn.
Yeah, I think he used a little more than the chrome horn. I think he used the door, the quarter panel, everything there. So it's definitely, tempers are probably flaring on pit road. If this wasn't a virtual race, there might be a little more post-race activity going on.
Well, we have Nick Noggle here in the broadcast booth, position number 3, and Nick, we were just talking about that move. I don't think we would be pleased as drivers for that to happen to us on the last lap. What was it like inside the race car?
Yeah, I wish I could say I expected more, but I was really expecting that from him. We ran a good race all night. Car was real good. I was just trying to stay clean and run the best line I could, and I knew going down into that last corner, Matt would do anything to get the position. Unfortunately, that's the way the kid drives.
You played the pit strategy well, though. 2 tires, got a bunch of caution flags at the end, and the thing held up really, really well on that last run. You got to be happy with the 2-tire call.
Yeah, no, the car was good all night. I was able to sit right in that lead lap pack, and I knew I needed to do something because track position was just worth so much. So I just figured taking 2 tires, I'd take the chance. The lefts weren't that bad at the time, and it worked out for me.
6 races halfway through the season. I know you don't do a whole lot of points racing yourself, but how does this set you up for those final 3?
I mean, I'll run them if I can, Tim. You say it right. I'm not points racing. We got thrown out that first race by accident. That kind of killed us. Last week I had some schooling to do in real life, so I had to skip. And unfortunately, I'm not here for points racing. I'm just here to have some fun, to be honest.
I know you as well as I want to not be here and be down in Florida to do either the World Series or Winter Nationals or what have you. But how are you passing the time this February?
I'm hurting. I won't lie, Tim. I'm debating whether I want to buy the World Series and watch it or sit here and try and forget that it's happening. But Luckily, I'm currently taking my engineering degree, and I'm going to be busy this winter anyway, so I probably couldn't have done it. But there's still that hope that's making me wish I was there.
You and me both. Who's on this race car? Who makes it happen for the team?
Brycon Racing, Mobile One, Vinyl Effects, just all the guys that make it happen every week. We made a few changes this season, got back to a Chev, and started running the Toyota, and it improved our program so much.
Well, nevertheless, it's a top 3 finish. Congratulations on the run.
Thanks, Tim.
That's Nicholas Noggle, position number 3. We'll send it down to the rookie, Brendan Queen, who's caught up with the only American in the field. He goes to victory lane tonight, Butterbean. It's Brett Suggs down there with you.
Yeah, so he caught up with the race winner here at Nashville for the 150-lap super late model portion of the night. Brett, man, what a car. Win practice, win the pole, win the money, win the race. Tell us about it. Was there ever a moment there where you didn't think it was going to happen?
Halfway through, man, when Barkhouse got the lead, I knew I'd be really close to his tail, but got a little bit worried because he came up through the field. I saw Mike was coming up through the field as well, so definitely had a little bit of worries, but I had faith in the car, and just in running clean, man, I try to do that each and every race, and it paid off there.
Yeah, I was definitely wondering up here in the booth. We were all trying to figure out what the strategy was with the tires, and you led the race and lost the lead right there before the pit cycle, and then you see a guy take 2 tires. What was going through your mind then? Did you feel like it was basically a race of whoever could get the lead back for the track position?
Yes and no. I was kind of surprised Nick had such a good car. Even on 2 tires, I really wasn't expecting that. But he was maintaining his own and running a great race. So that's another worry. He was super quick on 2 tires, and I knew it would only be a matter of time before, if Barkhouse could get around him, he would probably reel me back in. So just want to try to gap him once we were able to clear him on the high side, and it worked, and finally got a win here in the series.
Definitely a power move on those restarts to get the lead. My next question, being a rookie up here in the booth, I'm not quite sure what your point situation's like, but how does this set you up for the 6-race series, and what's your goal going forward?
Yeah, this will definitely help. Right now, the 2 prior races had 2 second-place finishes, so to come out with a win tonight, that means our lowest drop race is going to be a second. And I believe we'll take over the points lead. I don't know if anybody else has a second and a first. So it's going to be close for the points either way, but I'm more long-term kind of guy. I wouldn't take the back row bonus. I'm here for the points. I know Nick said he's not running the full season, but I'm here for the long haul. So just running clean, consistent races, clicking off top 3 finishes each and every time. That's going to be the goal, to try to get us there in championship contention.
Yes, definitely. Consistency is what it takes to win these things. Who you got on board helping you? Go ahead and give them a shout out.
Yeah, shout out first and foremost the RBR guys. Some of them had some trouble tonight with their internet. I know there's a big storm up in Canada, but shout out to them, and also everybody that tunes into my stream on Facebook at Brett Suggs Racing. We had a lot of hype in the chat, so it was pretty neat to see everybody cheering on a good race up front. And as well as we got the custom Matco. We just announced today, welcome them back for the 2021 IRL race season. So big shout out to them. Check them out on Facebook, their website, and whatnot. Lake Norman Power Cleaning, Brett Suggs Racing Marketing, Craig for putting the RBR series on, and Vidane TV, killer broadcast each and every time.
Hey, well, thank you for taking time to talk with us, Brett. You were my pick, so thank you for helping me out with that. And congratulations on the win. Your winner here, Brett Suggs.
You got it, buddy. Thank you.
We'll send it on down to Brandon Campbell, who's caught up with our second-place finisher, Matthew Barkhouse.
Hey, Matthew. Great run tonight. So, 1 second.
Okay, well, I guess that's an early exit. We'll go from here. Matthew, let's talk about the run at the end and the final passer position, number 2. What did you see at the windshield?
Yeah, no, it was a great race, and me and Brett had a lot of fun up the front, running door to door for a while, running pretty clean, and kind of figured tire strategy at the end was going to be key there. We took our pit stop together, so I didn't have the edge there. But yeah, no, Noggle there, he took 2 tires at the end, trying to, not too sure what he thought the 2 tires were going to do, but as it came down to it, after he kind of ran me like that on that restart run up high, just knowing that he was going to race like that, I wasn't going to cut him any breaks. So once I seen the hole down there, I was just going to pull a move he likes to do and slide on up. It just kind of shows that daddy's money that doesn't make you fast, whether it's a real car or an iRacing car. So maybe at some point to figure it out and just finish where he belongs.
Well, nevertheless, it's a top 2 run here this evening for you. You've had a couple of good runs in this series. Brett mentioned about, trying to factor in drop races and trying to look at points and, carry the one this way or the other way. What is your take on points? Are you looking at the points with halfway through this season, or are you just out here to try to pick up those wins, let the points fall the way they are?
Like Alexander's and stuff, my family, they've always kind of taught me about racing and such, and never want to worry about the points. Every time you come to the track, you go there with the mindset to win, and at the end of the day, the points will shake out if you do your job and keep getting those checkered flags. So at the end of the day, that's all I go for, and hope at the end of the championship there, but having those wins is a lot more fun than just worrying about points the whole race.
That's the second place finish here this evening. Who's on this race car? Who'd you like to thank from the team?
This is just a one-time car. This cheese thing from last week. There's a little joke with some of the race control there, but Xander Sign Group, Celtic Air Services, Don Automotive, R&R Kinsman's, and of course you guys are putting this show on for us. It's great to have the broadcast for our friends and family to watch, and all the guys there at Rev, Ryan Twinham, Mike Alexander, Mike Rondo, and Keith wasn't here tonight, but all those guys, we practiced together, so makes us a better team.
That's Matthew Barkhouse, our second place finisher here this evening. And Brett Suggs had to jinx us. Brandon Campbell lost his power in the snowstorm that he just talked about. So he's not here for final thoughts. Brendan, your final thoughts on the race. Your first time here with Vidain and RBR. What'd you think?
Hey, I had a blast. Like I said, thank y'all for having me in the booth tonight. Hopefully we can make it happen again. But and the racing started out really, really good. Besides them, a couple of restarts there where couple of chain reactions happened. I thought the racing was really good, really clean, really respectful. These guys definitely have their act together. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the Barkhouse and Noggle, considering one's running for points and one's not. That could get interesting, or vice versa. But man, I had a blast. It was definitely racing throughout the whole field.
Definitely fun racing, and halfway through the season now after the Vino's Truck and Auto 150. Still 3 races to go in this RBR series, but plenty of racing to come up this week with the NEP series. Got 2 races from them. The Showtime Cup series is coming up. The chase starts for the Sim 500 Vidain Super Speedway series. And Paul, we're working on something for TCM for Saturday that we'll probably announce tomorrow, but another Saturday night special coming up the pipe for that too. What else do we have upcoming on Vidain TV?
Man, we got an action-packed rest of the first half of the 2021 year on the calendar. You made mention this week we've got tomorrow night Showtime Cup Series is back. Richmond International Speedway. Got to see a pretty exciting race at Martinsville last week. Going to take them down to Richmond, Virginia. That's old Butterbean's home state. We might have to have him in the booth tomorrow night. We'll see if we can make that work and pencil that in. And you made mention NEP's a doubleheader there Thursday night, the Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series, and Friday night the NEP Super Trucks return. And Saturday night we got the Saturday night special there for Tim's Corner Motorsports. Probably going to be a 7:30 p.m. Eastern time starting slot for that, and then 10:30 Saturday night, the very first race in a 3-way dance for the championship. We got 10 drivers, 7 different winners, and 3 drivers that made it in on points to get themselves into the playoffs, and the winner of that championship gets that gorgeous Pro-Am Belts championship belt, and they get the free street stock rental on June 11th at Stafford Motor Speedway, courtesy of Rent a Race Car. Very, very excited to have that coming up here on Vidain TV. We've also got the Sim 500 boys as well. Monday night, the premier series of Sim 500, the Trans Service Cup Series, going to be starting off next Monday with the Daytona Duels at Daytona. The Trans Service Duels at Daytona. Easy enough for me to say. I'll be able to read one of my old notes here one of these days, but great racing here tonight. Brett Suggs taking over the points. It looks like a second place, and a first. Looks like second's probably going to go to Matt Barkhouse right now with a 4th place, 1st place, and a 2nd. So some great racing here. The RBR group never disappoints. It's always great to watch these guys race, and lots of big-time stuff coming up. We got, you made mention, the Saturday night special this Saturday, so be sure to take a look at social media. A lot of first-time viewers here tonight. Seems like we made ourselves a couple of fans over on the Twitch, the Facebook, the YouTube. Butterbeans over there hanging out with the Mullet Mafia. They're down there pounding beers on pit road already. We're going to have to park the trailer, the production trailer down there once we get everything unplugged. But great to have Butterbean up here. Awesome first race. Hope you come back. Brandon Campbell having some power issues there with the snowstorm up in Nova Scotia. And Tim, always a pleasure. And see Kyle Young hanging out. Kyle, did Kyle ever make it back from the hot dog? We sent him out for hot dogs hours ago.
I never left.
Well, that's why my hot dog's not here. Kyle, you definitely saw part of the end of the race, I'm sure. What'd you think?
Oh, never shy of nothing shy of drama and excitement, to say the least. Was paying attention to a lot of laps here and was very, very intrigued at how the racetrack was progressing throughout this race. I kind of figured that it would be right around the bottom for most of the way, but these guys were working through the middle grooves a little bit too. Still fairly new to Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway myself. Haven't had a lot of experience with this racetrack since purchasing it on iRacing, so definitely was able to learn a little bit from watching it on the outskirts, and enjoyed kind of just listening in and hearing how some of the new guys to Verdane TV were going to do tonight, and overall it was a great show.
Absolutely, and that's pretty much going to wrap it up here for tonight. We're going to crack open some ice-cold wobbly pops, as they call them up in Canada. Well, Mike James from The Rock calls them that anyway. But we're going to hang out just a little bit, probably going to shoot back on over to the Butterbeans official Twitch channel, the Butterbean03, so twitch.tv/thebutterbean03, and probably do a little bit of iRace and hanging out over there with the Mullet Mafia. And if you need to follow, hit his follow button, hit my follow button too, Strictly94 over there on Twitch, as well as all the official Verdane social medias on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, all that good stuff. That's how you get all of the action in front of your face, and you can check out verdane.net/events. Get yourself the entire full calendar of events. We're booked solid. We've got at least 4 to 5 races every single week, all the way up through the month of May here at Verdane TV, and I could not be more happy, and we really appreciate all the leagues and sponsors and partners that have jumped on board with us, and especially the fans as well. And anybody out there looking to maybe sponsor a race, get their name or their brand or their logo up here on the airwaves on Verdane TV, we are looking for race sponsors for the Sim 500 Trans Service Cup Series. Lots of race sponsorships available there. Again, that's the premier iRacing series there for Sim 500. Really, really looking forward to that season kicking off. Unofficially kicked off this past Monday over on the Sim 500 network. They ran the Clash, and it was an exciting finish, to say the least. You can actually check that out over on the Sim 500 Racing League and Esports Facebook page. But that's going to wrap it up here tonight for Verdane TV. Everybody here, everybody from Tim's Corner Motorsports, and everybody from RBR Maritime Group. A huge shout out to everybody involved with the show tonight. Great show. We'll catch you guys on the flip side, and when we do, we're going to be doing it live right here on Verdane TV.